From Don Revere to Bielsa, Billy Bremner to Ampadu, story stitched in every banner, every scar, every bruise. Yorkshire rose on our chest now, smiley badge, we rep the best. On the steps and in the turnstiles, every chant from the depths. Elland Road, hear us roll, we are Leeds. We are Leeds. Forevermore, from the cup to the streets. We are Leeds. Hey, hey. We are Leeds. Hey, hey. We are Leeds. Every lad, every last white shirt, heart that never leaves. Elland Road, hear us roll, we are Leeds. We are Leeds. We are Leeds.
Well, hello everybody, you're very welcome back to Leeds Bros for your instant match reaction. Full time at Elland Road, Leeds United 0, Arsenal 4. Dylan, that was not fun at all, was it?
I don't mean to be laughing. I don't even know what to think or say. I'm trying to keep my cool without saying the wrong things. Yeah, look, I think you go back to the first half. I think 10, 15 minutes, we looked at it, we were battling. Obviously you text me saying this looks completely different, in the sense of the lads looked up for it. Then after the 10, 15 minutes, they just kind of kept attacking and we kind of sat in a bit too much and we just looked a bit shaky and they started to create chances. They were getting corners. I think we all knew as fans, and I think Daniel Farke knew as well, that a goal was going to come for Arsenal. And it did. And whatever about that, but I think it's the response of how you're going to get back into this game. And we didn't. We didn't at any stage in the game. I think there's a lot of players that were poor in it. Don't get me wrong. Can't take away the fact that Arsenal are a very good side. A very good side. And that's they're top of the league for a reason. So, look, yeah.
Yeah, Dylan, just obviously disappointed. We're just completely outfought and outplayed, weren't we, boy? Much the better side today. Obviously, look at Arsenal. They're top of the league for a reason. We know that, and we knew their strengths from set pieces today, from corners. And today they showed that again against Leeds United, didn't they? We gave too many set pieces away, I think, Dylan. Too many corners in on top of our goalkeeper. Darren Dillo today, look, he obviously didn't have his best game, but I can't just fully blame him either, Dylan, because it's it's a team game at the end of the day, and we didn't play to our strengths today, and that's a disappointing thing. The first 8 minutes, you would say, was probably Leeds United's best spell in the game, with a shot from Ethan Ampadu that just went over the top, and then other than that, Dylan, we didn't really lay a glove on Arsenal today, and they fully deserved the 3 points. It's disappointing towards the end of the game. I think we probably capitulated a little bit. We were a little bit ragged, a little bit all over the place, lost our shape, and they could have added another 2 or 3 again, Dylan, onto that towards the end of the game. So it's disappointing, but games like that today against Arsenal are not going to define Leeds United season. We now have to dust ourselves down and pick ourselves up for a massive game now next Friday night against Nottingham Forest, because they're the games that count against the teams around us. But that one today obviously hurts. It's one of them. It's 9 goals conceded against Arsenal, so far this season. That's not good.
Look, what we can hope for is obviously the fact of the 5-0 defeat at the Emirates and how quick Daniel Farke was able to change certain tactics and certain players and rotation of the squad. More or less hit the reset button. And I think that's something that we need to do again now going forward into the Forest game. Obviously, you were going to it. So, look, it's going to be a big week for Leeds. A big week. But going back to the game itself, it was dominated by Arsenal from start to finish, lads. It's as simple as that. There's no beating around the bush. We were outplayed, and we can talk about this player, that player, this player. But at the end of the day, they're top of the league for a reason. They have hundreds of millions worth of players. You look at their bench they're bringing on, Gabriel Jesus. You've Eze coming on. There's serious rotation.
Odegaard, Martinelli, yeah.
So when you look at it like that, lads, it is hurt. Like it hurts. It does hurt. But I think the way that Fark is set up after these games is where we come out of it. So it's gonna sting for a while. It's gonna sting for a week anyway.
Yeah, it is one of them, and we've got a couple of Arsenal fans in work as well that I know I'm going to get a little bit of stick off as well. But it's just the nature of the beast, Dylan, isn't it? In the Premier League, I think as well. The disappointing thing is it's at home at Elland Road as well, and we've completely capitulated today. Where we've probably prided ourselves a little bit on how good we've been at Elland Road this season, and we just didn't show up today, Dylan, did we? We never showed up. And Arsenal just completely took control of the game, and we never really looked like we were going to score. We never really looked like we were going to hurt them. And it's just a disappointing. It is, Dylan. Let's get into a couple of the comments anyway, because they're flying in. Bit of a mix here, but we'll get into a couple of them here. Ian Ward says, hopefully we beat Forest next up. Absolutely, I think so. And I would put that down as, a big game for Leeds United now, and probably a must win, depending on how West Ham result obviously goes against Chelsea later on this evening. Let me put up a few more here. Mike says here, look, I don't know how you feel, but we need to invest in a decent transfer window or admit we're not Premier League material. I think this probably proves it as well, doesn't it? That we still need more investment, and it's going to happen over the next couple of windows. So hopefully we see one or two more before the window closes on Tuesday. Michael says it's not losing, but it's not laying a glove on them that is sickening. I think so.
Yeah.
I'm as well, Michael. I understand where Leeds United are right now in this moment in time in the Premier League, and it's all about survival. But the minimum I always want for Leeds United is, going out there, putting in a solid performance, and like what you said, just being hard to beat. And we just weren't that today. We rolled over, didn't we, really, for them today?
Yeah.
And the goals we conceded.
Showing too much respect.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I think we rolled over a little bit too much today. Declan Rice is 100 million more than our entire squad, says John Pepper. Exactly. They're just absolutely sprinkled in quality right across their squad, aren't they? And they probably will go on to win the league, lads. So we can't be too downbeat about it. But you cannot be. If you see your team losing against anybody 4-0, of course, it's going to hurt you. I don't want to hear any more criticism of Perry. I took so much abuse for saying that he was fine for our level. Darlow essentially gifted them the game today. Totally different after 2-0. Yeah, the goalkeeper situation. Yeah, no, go on. You jump in.
I just want to add on that one. Was Perry not in the game for the Emirates?
Yeah, 5-0, yeah. I think it's just the goalkeeper situation in general, Dylan. And now the situation is obviously Meslier isn't in the fray. Carl Darlow's been in today, didn't cover himself in glory today, had a bad game today, just one isolated game. I think Lucas Perry has had a couple of bad performances and a couple of good performances as well. And it's always going to be, I think, the topic of conversation at Elland Road is the goalkeeper position, isn't it? So, yeah, it's one of them. And it's going to be interesting now to see what Fark does against Forest next week. But this was my fear about the goalkeeper situation, Dylan, at Leeds, is that we can't have this pendulum swinging where we're going from Perry to Darlow every time they make a mistake. So it needs to be sorted out. If Perry goes back into goal, next week against Forest, Fark has to decide, right, we stick him here. Because goalkeepers are going to make mistakes. They make mistakes exactly like the way outfield players make mistakes. So Fark needs to nail down the goalkeeper position, Dylan, because I don't want this to and fro. Let's get back into a couple of more comments. They're flying in, lads. We'll try and get through as many as we can here. Let me go back there a little bit. We blame all of them, including the manager. Absolutely, it's a collective. It always is. When you lose a game of football, it's everybody, isn't it? It's a collective when you win or lose games of football. Jam says that was dreadful, lads. No sugarcoating it. Yeah, I think so. Jam is always straight out, isn't it? It was dreadful today. Let's get into a few more here. Darlow, I have watched for years and I've not seen much of him, says Ian Ward. Brian says here. Second best all the way. Arsenal the best at set pieces. Yeah, they're top at set pieces for a reason, aren't they? And you could see that how they were crowding the box, crowding around Carl Darlow. They made it really difficult for Leeds United today, didn't they? Every set piece they put into the box. Let's get to Michael's one here now as well. Arsenal weren't confident coming here. We had a chance to ruffle them up. If Arsenal had won, but they weren't battered leaving the field, I'd accept that, but not this shite. Yeah, and they actually had a bit of pressure on them coming to Elland Road today. Arsenal obviously did with the defeat against Manchester United and a bit of questions asked about them. So, look, they showed their steel there today and probably bounce back like the league leaders do. Mr. Whitesnake says, we all knew this loss was coming. Now we need a quality difference. Now we see the quality difference. Absolutely. I think, the golfing class was there for everybody to see today. It was chalk and cheese, wasn't it, Dylan, today?
More or less, look, I think with the investment itself, with players that we got in the summer transfer window and all the way up to now, at the end of the day, I think the money kind of determines and backs up the quality that Arsenal have to the difference that Leeds had. Someone said in the comments there, when you have a 100 million player coming off the bench, that's probably, let's be honest, the same price for our whole team. Darlow's distribution was shocking today, and I will admit that I'm not backing him. I'm just saying, as a venture off what Darren said, the goalkeeper situation isn't great at the minute. But when you're leaving the keeper in for too long, he's going to get blamed. If this had been Perry in there, we all would have been saying Darlow. It's just going to be one of them things.
Darlow has been weak on corner since he came in. Yeah, I think he has been as well. And I think when you look at the situation surrounding Karl Darlow, obviously he was brought in that summer when Illan Meslier ended up staying, and Daniel Farke decided to make Illan Meslier his number one and Karl Darlow was number two. And he's always obviously kind of been there as a second choice, the whole way through his Leeds United career so far. But you're looking at Lucas Perry now as a goalkeeper that we bought in the summer for 17 million to really step up his game now. And that's what's going to have to happen. But I just don't like this, Dylan. I don't like this back and forward with the goalkeeper. Like, as I said, if it's going to be, Lucas Perry in goal now again next week and Nottingham Forest, I just think it unsettles the whole back line as well, constantly when you're playing with different goalkeepers and different strengths. We know Karl Darlow's well able to kick the ball. Perry's not. Perry's probably a little bit better in his reactions, I would say, than what Darlow is. So they both have their strengths and they both certainly have their weaknesses, don't they? So, exactly. Yeah. We'll see what happens at that. That'll be an interesting one next week when the team comes out. Shane says, afternoon from Elland Road, waiting on the bus. Fuck my life. What a horrible game to watch. Not going to wash me face. Going to wash me face in drink. Yeah, drown your sorrows in that one, pal. Certainly not a good day. For today to be in Elland Road to watch that. Next weekend, and always was a 6-pointer. Absolutely a massive game now against Nottingham Forest next week. And this is where Leeds United have to bounce back now. We said it after, the Newcastle defeat, Dylan, and the manner we lost that game, that it was important for Leeds United to bounce back after that game. And we did do that obviously against Derby in the Cup and then against Fulham as well. That's what Leeds United are going to have to do now next week against Nottingham Forest is, dust ourselves down and go again.
His comment is sorry, I just jumped across there. That comment's exactly what I'm talking about. I can't blame either of the keepers because, as you said, Darren, you go back to, certain of them have their strengths and weaknesses, etc. We go back. Personally, I think 17 million for a player who should be playing. That's me personally. But you go back to certain games. One off the top of my head, the Newcastle game. I thought he was very poor that game. That's the reason why Darlow came in. Darlow played a good few games, and now he's had this one. So now, all of a sudden, now we're going to bounce back to Perry, which I agree with what you're saying, Darren. I don't think it's the right thing.
Easy says, this is down to Farke. He's not Premier League manager. If Arsenal are that good, why don't they win 5-0 every week? I tell you why, because they don't play for Farke every week. Yeah, look, that's fair enough. And you've obviously had your say on Farke all along, Easy. I don't think it's fully down to the manager today, to be honest with you. It's collective. Every time you lose, I think it's a collective. Shane says, we lost to a really good, structured, quality side. Forest game is going to be huge, lads. Absolutely. John Pepper says, sack the board. Yeah, they're going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat now before Tuesday. Leeds United definitely need more investment, don't we? Perry's distribution is much better than Darlow's. You think so? This is a good thing though, lads. Like, this is obviously all about opinions, and it's okay to have difference of opinion. I don't think that, but it's fine. It's okay to have difference of opinion, lads. Sorry, Dillo. Darlow is not at the required standard. Perry number one, says John Pepper. Yeah, that's fair enough. Hi guys, that was dreadful. I think Farke is setting up the team negatively for this game and transmitting fear into the players. I think so as well. And Dylan, when you go back to our starting 11 show before the game, me and you were very much locked horns about the Gruev one. You wanted to see Gruev start. I thought it was a game made for Sean Longstaff. I thought we needed a little bit more legs in midfield. I just thought that midfield was a little bit negative against Arsenal today, and we probably showed them a little bit too much respect in the way that we set up. Personally, I thought Sean Longstaff should have started the game today for Leeds.
Look, I said it in the starting 11 show. I think if Longstaff had been fit, he's only gotten back from injury. I don't think he's ready for a full 90 as of yet. Gruev has just been playing well lately. Not that I agree with it, I just simply getting into Fark's mind. He likes to keep a winning team or a battling team out, and I think that's the reason why I chose Gruev. But certainly for the experience that Longstaff brings to the team, for the Premier League experience, he should have started. But yet again.
But yeah, I think I probably, this comment as well is probably half of where my thinking is as well. Like I probably do think he's going to stick with Darlow for Nottingham Forest. I don't think he should have dropped Perry when he did. I know Perry was having bad performances, but he stuck with Elan Meslier, for a lot longer than what he did than Lucas Perry. And now Fark has put himself in a position where he needed Carl Darlow to perform and not have below par performances like the way he did today. So he certainly put himself in a predicament, Dylan, for next week. So that is a very interesting one of what Daniel Fark now does next week, whether he's going to stick with Carl Darlow or if he's going to go back to Lucas Perry. And I'm going to be 100% honest, lads. I don't know. I don't know who I'd pick because it's very much that, both of them haven't covered themselves in glory. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Dylan, we'll try and obviously swing on to a little bit of positives, like if we can. Like, who was your player, for Leeds United today that you think tried, stood up, and it didn't really work for him? I'm probably finding it a little bit hard to pick anybody out, to be honest. I know that's a little bit harsh.
I probably have to agree there. When you think about the first half, it seemed to be such a battling performance in the first 10-15 minutes to, as I said at the start of the video, to just completely crumble. And they pressed us back and we sat in too deep and showed them way too much respect. So I think at this time and present, it is very, very hard to determine who is a standout player for Leeds. I thought, all I'm thinking of is who was poor, if I'm being completely honest with you. But
it was more so, Dylan, that when you actually even go through the team as a whole today, I don't think Stroke for the last two goals was strong enough. I'm not slating anybody here, so I don't think Stroke was good enough. Gabby had one of them performances as well where he was, good in parts, and then other times he wasn't great. Our midfield, I thought, was poor today. I thought Anton Stack, wasn't sensational today. Ampadu wasn't his usual best. Our front line and Aronson and Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin was very isolated, Dylan, wasn't he?
Very isolated.
Through the match today. When you look back on that,
any scraps.
You probably look at Fark with the setup today. We needed someone up beside Calvert-Lewin today, I think, to, kind of give him a little bit of support up there. He was very isolated up front, and Aronson obviously tries to make that ground and tries to get up alongside him, and he just couldn't do it today. Miller, Leeds fan, says here, first time on your channel, do you think any players in before the end of the window? I hope so. I think it's needed. I think you could see that today with obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, not to any fault of his own, not having his best games today. No really, striker on the bench at Daniel Fark. Trusts only Joe Peru. So we definitely think we still need a striker. But I hope so. Dylan. With that, comments are flying in, lads. We're trying to catch up on this. The comment coming up for you?
No.
Oh, yeah, there.
There we go.
I was a little bit laggy there. DCL, why is he up front on his own again? Surely at home we set up to play him with a strike partner from available personnel. Yeah, I think I said that as well, Michael. I would like to see someone up alongside DCL today. He's better in it too, I think. Forrest Drew with Arsenal, so it comes down to setup, says Ian Ward. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. The way we set up. I don't know why Fark doesn't start Mecha and DCL together. It works so well. Now he isn't doing it at all. Well, Mecha was obviously injured today, pal. He was out with a hamstring injury today, so maybe Okafor should have started up front with him, or if he was brave enough, maybe start Joe Pereira. That might be a little bit out there, but could have done that. Longstaff was good when he came on. I thought so as well. Yeah. I thought he was good when he came on. Premier League experience in there, a little bit of legs in midfield. Darlow should not be above Perry, says easy. I think so as well. In out and out, talent, and obviously how much Perry costs as well in the summer, 17 million. He should not be ahead of Perry, but unfortunately with Perry's performance, he has been. We lose 4-0, and all I see on Twitter is Gruev's fault when he went off. We conceded the same amount of goals, says Matt Leeds. Yeah, there's always going to be a scapegoat.
It's a collective, lads. You can't blame one individual at all.
Yeah.
No, there's no one to blame here. Look, the setup was wrong. We got it wrong today, and that's simple as that. But what I will say as well, at half time, I was thinking, our normal setup that we used to play, the 4-3-3 was it? You know, we seem to never have a plan B in that sort of narrative.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into the same route now with this formation of the three at the back to be solely reliant on that. We need to be flexible and to bring players on in certain positions. Like when Willie Nanto came on and he didn't do anything as such, don't get me wrong.
Game is gone,
But
Dylan, when he's on, though. The
yeah,
game is
exactly.
gone.
Yeah, way gone. My point is why did we have to set up in that way if we knew Arsenal were going to be on the front foot? That's what I'm trying to say to you. We kind of knew from the get go, like this was going to be a difficult match. So what way we were set up should have been vital. And look, it's
I
simple as
think
that. We
I
just got it
agree
wrong.
with this. Yeah, this is it, Dylan. This probably echoes what you're saying as well. Like at home, nobody should be coming to Elland Road and beating Leeds United 4-0, negative and restricted from the manager.
That,
And at times when you're negative like that and you're too defensive, you invite them on, Dylan. And it was like after that 8-minute mark, Arsenal were essentially camped in our half. The first goal, Dylan, when I go back to the first goal as well, we'll try and go through the goals. Like Madueke, for me, gets his cross in far too easy. You're taught to try and stop the cross. He turns Gabby one way and then another, clips the ball into the box. And Zubimendi is just free, Dylan. Like, it's a free header again. Like, who's picking him up? We've seen this a couple of weeks ago, Dylan, before the City game. Free men, running into the box unmarked. That still does seem to be an issue at time for Leeds United. Like, how he's not marked, how he's able to just peel off the back of Calvert-Lewin. I don't know if it was Calvert-Lewin's man, but Calvert-Lewin was the one close to him. And it's free header. Darlow can't do anything about that. So it's disappointing to go 1-0 down in the manner that we did. It's simple ball into the box. And then again, Dylan, their second goal, like Madueke just puts it straight in on top of Carl Darlow. And it was a weird one because I think we had 3 Leeds players at that front post. And obviously this is something that Fark and they've worked on, knowing that Arsenal hit the front post. I think it was Bogle, Justin, and Calvert-Lewin was all across that front post. So Carl Darlow should be coming for that. And I think for me, Dylan, he does one of two things. One, he says away, screams away, so Dominic Calvert-Lewin can get his clearance on the ball because there's no Arsenal players around him there. So he can clear the ball. Or he says keeper's ball and Calvert-Lewin has to get the hell out of his way and Carl Darlow get a clean punch of it. And it's neither. He ends up fisting the back of Dominic Calvert-Lewin's head, makes a complete mess of it, and it ends up in the back of the net. And it's a poor goal to give away, Dylan.
It's very poor. And, me and you were obviously chatting at half time about it, Darren. And I think I have to agree with what you're saying there because, look, at us playing football over here in Ireland, we know from corners, especially if you hear someone away and whoever's closest to it smashes the ball clean out of the way. And when the replay was shown, it looked like it was going to hit, like Calvert-Lewin had it. It was going directly to his head. So I don't know. It'll have to be a chat between Fark, Calvert-Lewin and Darlow of what went wrong there. And someone got it wrong. Now, as I said, whether no one said it at all and they just all kind of went for the ball at once, that's a problem. So a bit of communication, a breakdown there for me, especially. So I don't know. And then go back to, sorry, what you're saying about the crosses. All the crosses were getting in too easy.
Yeah.
Every time that they were on the wings, if they got the chance, it was getting into the box way too easy from Bogle's side and Goodmundson's side. So,
yeah, one of them days, Dylan. One of them days, and you get these every now and then, don't you? Stephen Flood says we didn't get in their faces today. We let them run the midfield, and individual errors, especially the goalkeeper, was shocking. We need 1 or 2 players before the window closes. I think that's essentially nailed that on the head for me. We didn't get in their faces today. We basically rolled over, let Arsenal run the midfield as well. And again, individual errors as well. Not just Carl Darlow, because again, I think Pascal Struijk for the last 2 goals certainly has to be a little bit stronger and a little bit better in them incidents. And it definitely, I agree with you as well. We certainly need 1 or 2 before the transfer window closes. Absolutely. Let's get another more comment. Man City fan here. You Leeds totally screwed up today, but against Man City, Leeds played much better 3-2 to City. And then today, how would you not even score 1 goal? Yeah, I know, mate. It's one of them, isn't it? It's one of them. And still find that fee. But we tried to do his job today, but yeah, couldn't do it. What can you do? On to the next one. Counter attack without DJ. We don't have any threat. Would have been perfect for Arsenal. Okafor tried, but isn't quick enough as everyone thinks. Poor boy. And you know what? That's mad, Michael, because there was one stage that I actually thought about Daniel James today, that I could love a little bit of his pace on that right-hand side today, just to see if we can trouble that Arsenal backline a little bit with a little bit of pace. So hopefully we do have him back soon as we can. Matt Leeds says here, just like second half versus Everton, every time Aronson got the ball, he had no options to pass to, and this is something that we have to start looking at more. Why? And I think that was probably not even just the second half, Matt. I think that was throughout the course of the whole game, apart from the first 8 minutes. Is every time any of our players picked up the ball, not just Brendan Aronson, it looked like they were all a mile away. I don't know how many times we had throws in the right back position with Jaden Bogle, Dylan, and no options. We look very static, and Jaden Bogle just had to throw the ball, and it's 50-50 then after that. So, it was even the little things today, Dylan. We seem to be well off.
I think even down to our touches as well. There was a few touches that kind of got away from us, but yet again, that was Arsenal's press. Like, we weren't great today, I will admit that, but I have to kind of give credit to Arsenal for their pressing, because I think their pressing was just shutting Leeds down. And like at one stage, I think it was their third goal, maybe it could have even been their second goal. You look at Arsenal on the attack, and there's more Arsenal players than there is Leeds players. So that's something that we need to kind of get in order very quickly, or because now with the, I hate saying this, with the goal difference now as it stands, that's not good for us coming up against Forest now next week. So the goal difference is really starting to take a hit.
Yeah, that's it. That's the disappointing thing as well, Dylan. Like if you lose that 1 or 2, but 4, and it could have been 5 or 6. The goal difference is after taking a little bit of a bang. But Dylan, now look, it's up to the players now. It's up to Daniel Farke now. Next Friday night is a massive game now against Nottingham Forest, regardless of whatever way you look at it. We'll obviously keep a keen eye on other results as well, and hopefully Chelsea can do us a favour as well against West Ham, and it kind of keeps us then as you were from them. But if West Ham pick up batting down at Chelsea, then it puts even a bit more pressure, I think, on that game against Nottingham Forest next Friday night, Dylan. But I don't think it's games like today are going to come in the Premier League season, especially as a newly promoted club. You're going to get days like this, aren't you?
Yeah, you certainly are. And you know what? It's not the right way to think about it, but hopefully now, looking at that game and that performance, will give the board, Daniel Farke, and the players to think about. And then, exactly what John Pepper said. There's not much left of this window. We need to get a few bodies in as well.
Yeah, Tuesday, and that's it. It's over and out for us. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe Dylan, maybe that'll be the light to maybe give the board a little bit of a kick and say, this squad certainly needs strengthening. Look, before this game today, it was only 1 loss in 10, and we, maybe they got a little bit comfortable thinking that we have enough here. We certainly don't, because we know with football, we've all watched it long enough. It has funny ways of coming back and biting you in the hole if you stand still. So, okay, hopefully Leeds United get a couple of players in before Tuesday. I think it's an absolute must. But Dylan, look, we'll leave it there. It's obviously a tough pill to swallow. Not a great game for Leeds United today, but we'll leave it there, guys. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, and of course hit that subscribe button again. So mind yourselves, mind each other. We'll catch you in the next one.